Morning, ladies and gents. Dr. Lorenzo Mirabelli here again. Who out there is in a relationship right now? And what is the quality of that relationship? Is it good? Is it mediocre? Is it crappy? Well, hopefully I can give you a couple little insights into improving the relationship, or at least the communication between yourself and your significant other, whether it's a work colleague, a family member, a significant other, a barista, whatever it is. So essentially, we govern and live our lives according to what we call our values, which are what's essentially important to us. So if you are a first-time mother and your family is everything to you, you could pretty much say that your family is pretty high on your value list. Or similarly, if you are a student and you just love getting up and soaking in all that knowledge at school or uni, whatever it is, you might say that your education is quite high on the value list. Or if you're a multi-million dollar money magnet mogul and you're making tons and tons of cash daily, then obviously your financial well-being is quite high on the list. So when we understand ourselves intrinsically, we can actually start to communicate a little bit more efficiently, So instead of having to look at a person's actions and say that actions speak louder than words, we can actually communicate authentically. So rule number one in relationship communication is, be authentic. A lot of us shy away from actually saying what we really want out of fear that we're going to hurt somebody else. Now, I've been there a million times before. Friends, family, clients of mine, patients of mine have been there a million times before. But the truth is, there's no such thing as a good or bad outcome to a conversation. Now, if I upset somebody with something that I say, it's not so much my problem, it's theirs. I've obviously pushed a button or hit a nerve, but it's not mine, it's theirs. So essentially, from the kind of communication that I'm actually saying to these people, if I'm hurting them, great. It's important because this is the kind of lessons that they're supposed to go through in life to help them evolve and help them grow as a human being. So don't be afraid of A, speaking your truth, or B, ruffling a few feathers. I'd much rather be authentic in my communication than constantly be walking on eggshells around somebody, because if nothing else, it's stressful for me. And it should be stressful for that other person. So being authentic in communication is absolutely key. Now, you may find that you actually want something from the other person, and that's fair enough. That's what makes the world go round. But you don't get anywhere in life unless you actually can help somebody attain something that they want in their life. So that's where the skill of communicating in terms of somebody else's values is really quite important. So let's just say you're speaking to your father or your mother, and you want to go to a party on the weekend or something like that, say. So you obviously walk up to them and it's like, Mum, Dad, I want to go to the party on the weekend. What's the first thing they're going to say? Either A, do your homework, or B, you're not going. Or C, in my cases, ask your mother or ask your father, sort of passing the buck. But that's not communicating in terms of your parents' values. If you had have gone up to them and said, Mum, Dad, I'd love to go to this party on the weekend, and if you take me across there, little John Smith's father, who's in accounting, might be able to help you out with some of the accounting problems that you guys have been having with the business. You might be able to get a little bit of a conversation on and actually get some free advice. Okay, they're going to look at the two questions rather differently. Now, I know that's a pretty out there kind of example, but it stands true. So speaking in terms of another person's values is really quite important, because then that allows some of those barriers to just fall away, and you can communicate rather than two conflicting monologues. So I hope you start to understand by now that appreciation and respect, not only for yourself but the other person that you're communicating to, is paramount. You've got to respect the other person. If you're talking down to them, okay, they're not going to respect you. They're going to be resentful to you, and quite rightly so. And similarly, if you're, cowling away and you're minimizing yourself and you're putting them up on a pedestal, then you're not going to be respecting yourself. And at some point, you're going to grow resentful to the communication or communicating or interacting with that person. So be truthful. And speaking about truth, If you're in a relationship which you think is bad or toxic or whatever the case might be, you've got three options. Staying put and putting up with it, which I don't particularly suggest. I've been in that position before, and it leads to a myriad of stress and problems and sleepless nights, and nobody benefits from it. In fact, one person either ends up cheating or yelling or becoming abusive. So just get out of there, okay? Just leave. A lot of people think that by leaving you're actually going to cause yourself or the other person more pain than good. And the truth of the matter is, just like everything in life, there is no such thing as good or bad. There just is. So if you're thinking that by you leaving that person is going to hurt you more, then think about all the benefits that it's possibly going to bring by you leaving that relationship. Similarly, if you think that you leaving the relationship is going to hurt them, pull out a pen and paper and think about all the ways that it's going to benefit them. Thus, dissolving any kind of guilt or shame about leaving the relationship, so you both can grow and get on with your lives, because no one wants to be stuck in a relationship for 5 years where you hate each other. It's ridiculous. And of course, the third, and I believe best strategy, is to start to understand yourself and go through the process of self-mastery and equilibrate the relationship, because we're just reflections of each other. So if you can really work out what this person is actually saying to you or teaching you, then you'll be much more grateful for the experience, because if you can grow and learn and understand and get rid of all that crap and baggage from past relationships, don't you think you'd be in a better position going forward with either that person or with another person? Absolutely. We've all dealt with people that have had tremendous amounts of baggage from past relationships. And you know what? It's the pits. It's a pain in the ass. Deal with your shit. Deal with it. Don't bring it into the next relationship, because history repeats itself. You can guarantee yourself that. So I hope this has been insightful. I've tried to keep the video nice and short. If you've got more information or got any questions or anything like that, leave a comment for me. Alternatively, jump onto lorenzomirabelli.com or thehealthstudio.com.au. Flick me an email and I'll try and get back to you as quick as I can. Have a great, awesome, inspired day. See ya.